So right now we are tracking Invest 97L. So looking at the discussion, environmental conditions do appear conducive for development. Let's go to spaghetti model, not spaghetti models, tropical Atlantic satellite. Tropical Atlantic satellite. So let's go to the, here we go. So there we go. This is what we want to look at. Animated GIF. That's Invest 97L right there. Quite a bit of spin there, actually. Good amount of spin. Good amount of spin there at the moment. Go to YouTube right now. Just there we go. Yeah, this name, Storm Fan Lover, that's a name I used to have when I was creating. Spin there, actually. So, okay, so that name, Storm Fan Lover, is actually a name right here. This name is actually when I first created this channel back in 2012. I mean, that is a very long time. Of course, I still don't have a lot of subscribers, but that's because I haven't really been active on YouTube in the past few years. I'm in college, so that's the reason for this. So I'm prioritizing college right now over making videos. But I'm free over the summer, so let's look at the satellite loop again. There we go, Invest 97L. So let's look at the models. So let's look at the models right now. Alrighty. Let's look at the model right now. Like, poor California right now is having a horrible heat wave. Well, just had a heat wave. Like, Washington State just had an awful heat wave. Possibility of some severe weather Thursday afternoon in the Northeast. Let's look at the temperatures, and this will tell us how bad the severe weather will be Thursday. Looks like the zone of severe weather will be across the Mid-Atlantic. Philadelphia looks like we'll have some pretty nasty storms. Looking at Wednesday, oh God, a heat wave, and there's Invest 97L. Potentially going up the East Coast. Wow, look at that. Invest 97L. That's Invest. Actually, that might not be Invest 97L. That actually might be Invest 96L, actually. Yeah, that's Invest 97L, actually. Wow, look at that. This could be a major system, potentially, for the United States. Anyway, let's go back to the continental United States, or the contiguous United States, lower 48. So heat wave in Boston. So Wednesday is going to be hot. July 7th, I'm going to be in Boston that day, so it's going to be really hot. Thursday, not so hot. But then Friday, looks like possibly stormy weather on Saturday. Let's see. Ooh. Let's see. Oh, Jesus Christ, look at that heat. So this heat, oh my God, look at that, 114 degrees. Yeah, today Seattle is just incredibly hot. 116 degrees, I have never seen it this hot. Like, even Canada, look at this, 107 degrees in Canada. This is just incredible. This is just unbelievable. I mean, look at this. Look at this heat. This is central northern Canada. 110 degree heat. This is unheard of. Like, I have never, ever seen this before. Like, guys, this is just incredible heat. Like, this is basically the tundra. Like, look at this, guys. Check this out. Like, I have never seen this before in my life. Like, this is even hot for Arizona, but this is in Washington State. Climate change is rampant right now. Climate change right now is rearing its ugly head. This isn't something that our future generations have to worry about. This is something that we have to worry about now, like at this moment. It's already affecting us. Look at what is going on. Look at the continental United States. Look at this. This is what happened yesterday. This is just unbelievable. 115 degrees? I mean, are you kidding me? 115? Like, seriously. So let's look at, this is what happened today. Oh, come on. Jesus Christ. This is bad. Like, this is great. Like, this is off the charts. Heat. And now we have to worry about a tropical system that could be impacting the East Coast in as little as a week and a half. 112 degrees in Seattle. Like, I don't believe this. Tacoma, Washington right now. Like, right now, in Tacoma, Washington, it's at 66 degrees. Tomorrow, 80. But so SeaTac only hit 84. Like, I don't believe that. No. Spokane. Yeah, Spokane, Washington is just, yeah, 94 degrees at 9:57. Tomorrow, 110 degrees. Jeez. Degrees. Look at this. Like, look at this. I don't believe this. Like, this is just incredible. So let's... Looks like Kennewick, Washington shattered records, whatever they were, just shattered them. Degrees. Kennewick is like right in this area. Jesus. $111? Let's look at the record for the day. Record high, 109. New record, 111. Yep, new record. New record, 111 degrees. And when is that record broken? Walla Walla. Let's see, Walla Walla. Those are some lower clouds right there. More mid-level. Those are mid-level clouds. And these usually bring rain. 115 degrees. Let's look at the record. Old record. 106. Wow. Washington State all-time high. All-time high temperature. Well, oh wow. This is the highest temperature ever recorded in Canada. Yep. Highest temperature ever recorded. Climate change. This is what climate change looks like. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to continue to break record after record after record after record. That records that were only broken once every 70, 80 years will be broken year after year after year after year because of climate change / honestly, global warming. Let's look at the global temperatures, how they've been rising steadily. Anomaly, let's look at that. So, okay, let's go to more images. There we go. This is what I wanted to show you guys. And it looks like they went down, but look. Look at that steady increase. Just follow the cursor and look at that. Steady increase. You want to follow not the individual drops, but you want to follow the overall trend, how it's been increasing. Oh yeah, remember how this was, quote, here? What happened is, you have a new average. It used to go to from 1979 to 2010, but this is a new average now. He even updated it. He actually said that he updated the average. See? Now it's 1991 to 2020 average. See? So, of course, we're still above average. This was all above average. But you keep on having to up the ladder, increase the zero. This then will become the new zero. And then eventually, you'll see how much we warmed up. Look at that. We went from averaging about look at this. We're about already, since 1979, we're already almost a degree Celsius warmer, or half a degree at least. So we were averaging between 1979 and 1986 between 0.4, we were averaging between 0.3 to around, 0.45. So we're averaging about 0.3 degrees, roughly. And now we're averaging 0.3 above. That is a 0.6 degree temperature increase Celsius. So the trend is definitely increasing. But what is also increasing is Campi Flegrei. What is also increasing is the uplift at Campi Flegrei. Still increasing. So this rain, so basically we're still having a very rapid rate of increase of uplift at Campi Flegrei right here. Uplift is still very rapid. Still very rapid uplift. In just the last half month, we've seen 80 millimeters of uplift, which is unprecedented because usually in a year we were seeing about 100 millimeters. Right around 100 millimeters. So this is the 100 millimeter mark here. So we're seeing roughly 100 millimeters. And now, see, from 100 millimeters to another 100 millimeters. See, but now the rate of uplift has really increased in just the past year and a half. Rate of uplift has actually substantially increased. See how it was only up to 40 millimeters between about 50 millimeters in half a year, and then went from about 50 to about 100, so about 50 millimeters every 6 months. But now we are encroaching on 80 millimeters. So the rate of uplift has definitely increased substantially over the last year. And let's look at emissions of sulfur. Also, big increase of sulfur emissions. I mean, well, that could be, you would think that's the volcano degassing itself and releasing some of the pressure. This sudden increase means there's been an influx of magma going into the chamber. This is fluxes of CO2. This is not methane, this is CO2, which means there's more outgassing, which means there's more magma coming into the system. That's what the uplift means, that outgassing means. And also, the temperature is increasing again. You had a brief decrease in temperatures, but now you're having another increase. So, uplift is still going on. You had a very sharp increase, actually one of the sharpest increases that I've seen of CO2. From under 10,000, basically about 6,000 here. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6.5 to over 11,000. So that's a huge increase of sulfur. I mean CO2. Sorry, that's CO2. So you're having a very sudden increase of sulfur. I mean carbon dioxide. CO2 flux here. This is flusso, which is flux in Italian. So I can read Italian a little bit because I do a lot of translation. So basically, statement from 27th of June 2021, Campi Flegrei registered 17 earthquakes between negative 0.8 and magnitude 0.7 plus or minus 0.3, for errors. This is seismological, which means, seismological data. So seismologica, so 21 to 27th, again, from 17 quakes, information of deformation, saying that there's been 13 millimeters plus or minus 2 per month. There's been 76 centimeters of uplift since January 2011. 76 centimeters since Gennaio, which is January in Italian. Geochemia or geochemical stuff, flux of CO2. They're saying that they're mentioning the flux of CO2, and they're saying the temperature have been averaging around 100 degrees Celsius, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Usually it's a lot more red, so there's been a slight decrease in earthquake activity. But so you're having a slight decrease of earthquake activity, continuous uplift, and also an increase in carbon emissions, meaning that the volcano is pressurizing. There's more magma feeding into the system. This means that there's a fresh influx of magma. These increases usually means there's a fresh influx of magma into the chamber, and that could also increase the temperatures of the fumaroles and also cause more uplift, more pressure. The magma type, I believe, is andesite. This is definitely not rhyolite. Anyway, record temperatures, as you can see, climate change is definitely occurring. I mean, I like what Biden is doing, making America carbon neutral by 2030, or decreasing. I think a decrease of 50% by 2030. While it's very ambitious, I'll say, it's not going far enough. We need to go carbon neutral by 2040, or even sooner than that, if we are to avoid a catastrophic climate change. We're already seeing the effects of it now, which means we cannot delay. We cannot say, "Oh, let's do a couple years later. Let's recover from COVID. Let's use coal. Let's use oil." No. In fact, you see how we quickly acted on COVID. We shut everything down. We need to act on climate change even more vigorously than we acted on COVID. Instead of shutting stuff down, no. I don't mean shut things down. We need to invent. We need to build, but green. We need to use more and more and more renewable energy. And by the way, there's a way we can do this. There's a form of energy called molten salt reactors. It's a type of atomic energy, fission. So while we say, nuclear reactors, well, there are no nuclear reactors. They're atomic reactors, not nuclear. But let me say this again. Molten salt reactors are meltdown proof. They are proliferation proof. Well, I'm actually talking about the LFTR reactor, not a, this is what we need. This is the future. Why? Fusion is still, I'm going to say, decades away. We cannot wait decades to stop climate change. We cannot wait any longer. We have to act now. I mean, Greta Thunberg is 100% right. And also, speaking of climate change, so there is a friend of mine on Twitter who had his trees destroyed by some scumbag who basically took all of his trees that he planted. Edgar McGregor planted trees in his local forest to try to combat climate change, and some scumbag decided that it was a good joke or whatever to just uproot all those trees. Maybe it was the state, maybe it was some scumbag. Most likely it was it's the second one. I don't think the state would just remove trees knowing how important climate change is, and it happened in an area that trees really shouldn't be removed. And it was actually a very important trees for that ecosystem. So I think it was just some scumbag who just wanted to ruin someone's day, or just thought it was a good idea to destroy brand new saplings, which actually, replanting new trees is actually the best thing you can do for the environment, because guess what? New trees absorb much more CO2 than older trees. So old growth trees are absorb less CO2 than new trees. So a lot of these forest industry, while I do not agree in lodging, like, you know, we should recycle more, some of these do do it sustainably by planting 3 trees for every tree they cut down, or so they say. If that's the case, actually lodging can actually be a carbon neutral or even negative carbon impact, because you're cutting trees, old trees that are not as efficient as removing carbon, but you're planting new trees which take more carbon out. So there is a way to do sustainable farming, not just sustainable because, you know, you're replanting trees, but sustainable in terms of how you're contributing to climate change. Of course, it should not be done in a forest where there's animals and, you know, wildlife living there. It has to be done in a specialized area that's only meant for tree harvesting and replanting. Anyway, I think we need to plant trees everywhere. Like, of course, sustainable. You can't just make the forest too thick or you'll have horrible fires. There's a lot of areas in the Amazon rainforest that were destroyed by horrible fires that Bolsonaro contributed by allowing more clear cutting and these horrible burn techniques, just slash burning, just clear burning the forest for, well, agriculture. Well, agriculture is actually one of the worst environmental. It's one of the worst environmental impacts on the environment. It's one of the worst impacts on the environment because the way agriculture is done is extremely unsustainable. Forests are being destroyed, you know, to create, you know, basically food. Instead of vertical farming, they just destroy forests. Anyway, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, I know. But we need to do more to combat climate change, and this is the answer. Well, this is one of the answers. Why? Well, you don't need pressurization for this reactor. You do not need water for coolant, because guess what? The liquid salt, like, because it operates at such high temperature, salt, just regular salt, well, Phoebe salt, F-I-O-I-B salt, as it's called, this liquid salt coolant allows higher operating temperatures and much lower pressure in the primary cooling loop. And so basically it doesn't have to be pressurized, it could operate at near atmospheric pressures. It's even more efficient than coal reactors, cheaper to construct too, because coal reactors actually need, coal power plants, I'm calling them reactors, coal power plants need a lot of pressurization and coolant. And I mean a lot of pressurization and coolant. And you see how it says, oh, as soon as you go outside the United States, there's no thorium, right? Well, there's a lot of thorium in the Rocky Mountains, like a lot of thorium. Concentrations as high as 13.5 parts per million. I mean, just a tiny bit of thorium, just 1 pound of thorium has the amount of energy equivalent as thousands of tons of oil, basically. It's, well, not thousands, but let's say several hundred tons of oil. Just 1 pound of thorium has so much more energy. It is incredible, and it's one of the most common elements on Earth. It's almost on par with lead. And it's, in itself, it's pretty inert. It only becomes radioactive after you turn it into thorium-233. Thorium-233 becomes thorium-233, which eventually becomes uranium-233, which you fission. You don't fission the thorium, you fission the uranium. See? Plutonium-239 is what you use in nuclear bombs. 238 is actually the good stuff, which could be used for space exploration. Wow. Yep, this is it right here. This is how the reactor operated. This is the entire reactor. Let's see what's in the news. Thorium. Let's see. Just gonna read a little about it. There's a lot of companies trying to pursue thorium. Yeah, I think everyone needs to invest in thorium. But the reason I support it is not because of financial reasons, it's for environmental reasons and how it could revolutionize, you know, the climate solution. Yeah, it can revolutionize ending dependence on fossil fuels, you know. We'll basically never need to use fossil fuels again if we use thorium. Anyway, looking at the weather again, it looks really bad, especially for a large part of the country. A lot of heat, really bad heat wave coming to the Great Plains. Could be one of the worst heat waves in decades, potentially. So looking here right now, boom, right here. So July 10th, 9th through the 12th could be really bad for the Great Plains. Look at this. Just absolutely crazy. Jesus. 14 degrees. North America. Just crazy. And let's look at the Arctic ice concentration. This is what I really want to see. This is not looking good, guys. This is not looking good. I just hope that does not happen. See, it seemed like we were doing pretty good, and then, wouldn't you know it, the rate of decrease was very sharp. So we could definitely potentially see a record low. Potentially, it's not certain, but this is what I want to look at, yeah. Okay, it looks like not too bad. It's nothing like 2012, thank God. Still not good. It's still not looking good, but let's look at Antarctic. This is good though. Antarctic sea ice is looking good. Okay, let's close some of these windows. It's a really cool car. Yeah, just so you should know, Volvo's going all electric. Yep, by 2030. I mean, honestly, they should do it by 2025, but I mean, it's definitely going to be feasible. I mean, price of lithium ion is dropping like a rock. Well, great. Delta mutation. Zombie research. Zombie. It doesn't actually mean zombie research. I mean just like. I mean, Tesla already came out at this time, by the way. You know, already there was electric cars around here, but they were really expensive. In the early 1990s, the storage capacity needed to power a house for a day would cost $75,000. Today, the same amount of power can be delivered at a cost of less than $2,000 from a 40-kilogram package, the size of a small backpack. Wow, yeah, that is incredible, basically. Isn't that incredible? In a few years, electric vehicles may cost the same as their carbon combustion engine counterparts. Incredible. And not only that, I know my videos are very informative. Well, they're live streamed. Boom. Yes! Yes! I knew it. Tesla's also reportedly interested in the technology. Well, graphene isn't a technology. Graphene is an element. It's actually a variant of graphite. Graphene is actually a variant of graphite, which is a hexagonal carbon nanotube, basically. It's an atomic structure of carbon in a hexagonal shape. Yeah, it's in a hexagon, see? This is the structure of graphene. Graphite is also in a hexagonal pattern. However, graphite structure. But it's not evenly placed. This is graphite, but this becomes graphene. See? See how easy it is? Seriously, like, seriously. Make graphene in your kitchen with soap and a blender. Yep. Isn't that incredible? The stuff you use in pencils, is literally now the precipice of a energy revolution that is far beyond anything we're seeing right now. The supercapacitor, basically. It's not a supercapacitor, it's a supercapacitor. Yeah. It's the production. Yep. Yeah, and they're also biodegradable. Like sometimes next year. That's awesome. Yep. And you don't have to mine for lithium and do all that other crazy stuff. You literally could make graphene from graphite. Boom. And you know how you make graphite? You make it from coal. So you could literally you could use the coal to make graphene without burning it. There. Now coal could actually be used to stop climate change. And the trick, don't burn it. Just 1 pound of coal. I mean, it's how to make graphite from coal. Coal. Cook coal until all the gases and liquids have been removed. This includes water, coal gas, and coal tar. And you could use solar energy to do that too. Graphitization. Graphite is produced naturally, but it usually commercially produced by treating petroleum coke. Yeah. Coke is a byproduct of the destruction of distillation of coal. While it's possible to convert carbon into graphite, this process requires industrial equipment not available to the average individual. Create coke from coal. Coal is a form of carbon. Using an airless furnace, using solar energy actually, best way to do it, cook coal until all the gases and liquids have been removed. This includes water, coal gas, and coal tar. Temperatures can reach as high as 3,630 degrees Fahrenheit. So the energy and equipment required are typically only used by industrial producers of graphite. The resulting material coke is then crushed into a powder. Create silicon carbide. In an electric furnace, carbon and silicon, often in the form of a clay, are production in the production of graphite. Wow. Right, graphite from silicon carbide, and then you can make graphene from the graphite. Silicon begins to leave the silicon carbide, leaving only graphite. That is really cool. Yeah, and they say that batteries are bad for the environment because they emit more carbon than this. Utter BS. How much carbon does lithium does production. Well, didn't get what I wanted, but okay, let's go to volcano information. Yeah, this is a phreatic eruption, by the way. This is not a, I would not call this a true volcanic eruption. Let's see. Definitely a phreatic eruption. Yep. You see how it, okay. What happened here is a phreatomagmatic eruption, basically phreatic. What you're seeing here, right here.
We like your energy. So when you 100% electricity with Green Mountain Energy, a normal summer night can become a storybook romance. Or the Lux treatment. Or 50,000 screaming fans. And you can do it all with 100% clean wind and solar power. That's good for your home and the planet. Green Mountain Energy, clean energy for your kind of energy.
Yeah. The volcano that happened, the eruption that happened, was definitely a okay, right here, boom. That is a phreatic eruption. You see how dark the ash is? I mean, there's very little magma associated with this eruption. Right here, see? Very little magma. You see how the column almost immediately collapses and it looks like there's this cloud of steam going up? This is a phreatic eruption. See, and there's no more. It's done. And see all that steam? That ain't smoke, that's steam. This is a phreatic eruption. This is what is known as a phreatic eruption. A lot of steam associated with this eruption.
It's time for Sleep Number's lowest prices of the season on the Sleep Number 360 smart bed. It's the most comfortable, body sensing, automatically responding, energy building, dually adjustable, dad powering, wellness boosting, foot warming, temperature balancing, recovery assisting, effortlessly life-changing, proven quality night's sleep we've ever made. Don't miss our 4th of July special.
Giant eruption.
$1,000 on Sleep Number 360 smart beds, plus 0% interest for 36 months and free premium delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday.
Do you notice anything different here? North Korean leader Kim Jong-un appears to be losing weight. The country is now admitting it. North Korean state media quoting this unidentified local who says, "Our people's hearts ached most when we saw Kim's emaciated looks. Everyone says their tears are welling up in their eyes naturally." How much weight? The Associated Press cites some estimates saying the 5'8" dictator may have lost between 22 to 44 pounds. Now the question, is this a diet or out of hardship? One expert tells South Korean paper NK News intentional weight loss could improve his position at home, as Kim warned of possible food shortages from border closings, sanctions, and crop-killing storms. If this points to health concerns, heart issues took his father and grandfather. the 37-year-old hasn't publicly announced a successor.
Okay, from the looks of it, it was definitely a phreatic eruption. See? Even they confirmed it was a phreatic eruption. This is a phreatic one. See? Like yeah, because you didn't have dark gray plumes. You had a lot of white, and white means it's phreatic. You did have ash, you know, because basically what happened is you had a lot of pressure from all that steam. You see all that steam, right? That steam is basically what triggered the explosion, caused by the interaction of water and magma, basically, about a couple kilometers below. So this is what a phreatic eruption is.
We have a lot of sayings about work, like You see how that's glowing? That was not phreatic, you know, that demonstration. If molten magma was included, volcanologists classify the event as a phreatic magmatic eruption. You know, like the White Island eruption was phreatic.
The state of New Mexico contains 4 volcanoes which are monitored by the U.S. Geological Survey, including one supervolcano. However, it also contains a number of other volcanoes which are dormant but could eventually erupt again. One of these dormant volcanoes is located in northeast New Mexico and is called Capulin. Capulin is a towering cinder cone which could eventually be the site of another eruption in the future. It is one of the most recent features of a vast volcanic field called the Raton-Clayton Volcanic Field. This volcanic field stretches across parts of New Mexico, Colorado, and Oklahoma. One of its lava flows traveled across all 3 states before cooling as the tallest point within the state of Oklahoma. This video will discuss this fascinating long-lived volcanic system and discuss what hazards it might pose in the future. This volcanic field includes several different types of volcanoes, which include cinder cones, lava domes, and even a stratovolcano.
Wow.
The Raton-Clayton volcanic field is one of several recent volcanic features in the region of New Mexico which have formed along the northeastern trending line. This line is called the Jemez Lineament and represents a regional weak point in the crust due to the collision of 2 continents at this location 1.7 billion years ago. Since the crust is thin in the area, magma at depth can easily travel upwards and erupt onto the surface. This volcanic field began forming 7.7 million years ago when magma at depth traveled upwards through the lineament and erupted onto the surface. The early eruptions were highly explosive and deposited viscous gray lava flows. Since these lava flows could not travel very far, they grew in mass in a central location, thus forming several lava domes. The first lava dome to form was 8,000 feet wide and 900 feet tall, called Pine Buttes. 2 other lava domes which formed during this phase of activity are the 2-mile-wide Palo Blanco Mountain and 3-mile-wide Laughlin Peak. Eventually, lava dome-forming eruptions largely ceased and eruptive activity moved towards the New Mexico-Colorado border. Over the next 1 million years, more than 100 square miles were covered with a thick layer of black lava called basalt. Basalt has a low viscosity, so individual lava flows traveled up to 20 miles away, producing a gentle slope of only 1 to 2 degrees. Afterwards, the softer surrounding rock was eroded away while the hardened basalt remained. As a result, vast flat mesas were created. Then, 3.8 million years ago, lava within this volcanic field finally found a central point to erupt into. As a result, subsequent eruptions for the next 1.2 million years occurred at the same location, which in this case was south of the modern town of Des Moines. During these eruptions, overlapping layers of ash deposited from explosive eruptions and lava from effusive eruptions piled on top of each other. Hundreds of eruptions from the 2,000-foot-tall Sierra Grande stratovolcano out of a gray rock type called andesite. After the stratovolcano became extinct, lavas which erupted became less viscous, allowing them to travel further distances. One eruption 3.5 million years ago began in southeast Colorado. It then traveled a whopping 25 miles across Colorado, parts of New Mexico, and into Oklahoma. When this lava cooled, it left behind the tallest point within Oklahoma called Black Mesa. The most recent pulse of eruptions began 60,000 years ago as magma once again reached the surface. Over a several-year-long eruption, intermittent explosions of ash occurred which then largely fell back to the erupting vent, forming a cinder cone. Additionally, lava flows were emitted from the cinder cone, causing the overall edifice to grow in size. By the time the eruption had ended, the 1,200-foot-tall Capulin volcano had been constructed. The crater in the center of this volcano represents its main vent. Around the same time period, 2 other eruptions occurred, thus forming Purvine Mesa and Twin Mountain. Baby Capulin was formed via the last eruption from this volcanic field approximately 45,000 years ago. Due to the long history of this volcanic field, it will erupt again. The next eruption will most likely occur within a 10-mile radius of the town of Capulin. Such an eruption will either build onto or create a new cinder cone and create a long-distance lava flow. These lava flows could travel up to 10 miles away, so a number of roads would be put at risk. Additionally, any future eruption would also produce small volumes of ash which could disrupt air travel. The odds of this volcanic field erupting each year are about 1 in 40,000. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to request a specific topic, please leave a comment below.
Yeah, okay, let's now look at I'm going to look at SPC, the outlook for tomorrow. chance of some really strong storms tomorrow. Wind mostly. Just wind, no tornadoes. Wind is the primary threat. I'll explain why. So it's going to be very hot tomorrow. So I'm actually going to the beach. No, I'm not going to be chasing any storms because they're kind of too far away from me. Like, they're kind of going to be in upstate New York. So, I mean, let's see. If I should chase them or not. Let's see. It looks like the northern areas of New York City might get some pretty strong storms, but I usually go with the HRRR as it's more reliable. Southwest winds at the surface. I mean, inland is southerly along the coast. Jesus Christ, 96. Okay, let's look at the buoy. 70 degrees. Hmm. 64? What the heck? I don't believe that. Well, there goes my chances of swimming. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm going to bed now. Actually, no. Just want to check the Invest 97L. Yep. There we have it. We have it. We're starting to have some development now. It looks like, yep. Trying to find where the center of circulation is, usually right about there. Yep. Boom. Invest 97L is getting more organized. Darn it. So, yep, boom. There we have it. 70% now. During the next few days. Not looking good. And then this could go up the East Coast potentially. Alright, thank you all for watching. Good night.